This is Dr. John Whitcomb asking the question, could your Crohn's disease be caused by your milk? Let me follow some details for you. First of all, Crohn's disease is known by the presence of granulomas, and if you Google granuloma and image, you can find granulomas of tuberculosis, sarcoidosis, and Crohn's disease. Well, tuberculosis is known to be caused by a mycobacterium, and our immune system has a hard time killing it, and so we wrap it with white cells and make it in a granuloma and try to contain it. That's how our body tries to sort of control tuberculosis. There's increasing evidence that sarcoidosis may be the same thing with an atypical mycobacterium. So why would Crohn's be anything different? Well, it's the only disease that makes granulomas in your gut. That's fact number one. Let's talk about fact number two. Have you ever heard of Johne's disease, spelled like Johne? Johne. Now my middle initial is E, so I figured they named it after me, Johne. Johne's disease is atypical tuberculosis in cows, caused by mycobacterium paratuberculosis. It's a avium to paratuberculosis. And it's an indolent little infection. It's hard to find, but it ends up with cows losing quite a percentage of their milk production. And about 1% of Wisconsin cows have it. And because you can't find it, it's in about half of Wisconsin cow herds. Now what's changed is that recently we have begun the ability to take the manure from cow farms and detect the DNA of the MAP bacteria, Mycobacterium avium paratuberculosis, and detect it that way. So now we have a viable tool to find it, which is really interesting. But what we know is if you have 100 dairy cows, which is the smallest dairy farm is much bigger than that, and you're mixing them all together, 1% of those cows has Johne's disease. And that means it's in that dairy truck. So when you take the milk away, and when you think about it, every time you drink a glass of milk, you're probably drinking a little bit of milk from 200 different cows. Okay. So there is a form of tuberculosis that makes granulomas in our milk. And we know that the MAP bacteria survives the process of pasteurizing. It survives water purification and standard water purification systems. So the water the cows drink, the manure they're mired in, and their milk carry Johne's disease from cow to cow. Now, another little fact. Crohn's disease has increased by about 50% since the first of the century in just the last 20 years. And in the 20 years before that, it also increased another 30, 40, 50%. It's increasing on an order that half of us are going to have Crohn's disease in another 50 years. Maybe not, maybe longer than that, but it's still increasing dramatically. And we all know somebody with Crohn's. This is an infectious disease. It's not an autoimmune disease. The question is how to treat it and how to find it. And I think the time has come to acknowledge that it's caused by this atypical tuberculosis bacteria in cows. We get it from our milk. It's widely prevalent. And a study done on looking at the urine of people with the DNA detecting methodology, you find that in fact Crohn's disease in their stool, if you check there for DNA, some 65% of people have it. That's a burning little thought. But unfortunately in control groups of the normal population, 50% of people have it. Well, we're drinking milk. Maybe the test is so sensitive that the milk we're drinking that's going through our gut that day that ends up in our stool is actually showing up as a positive test. I think it's time to get our cow industry regulated for safety. Crohn's disease is coming from Johne's disease in cows, and we need to clean up our milk. And until we have clean milk, until we know that it's being checked for and followed, we shouldn't be drinking unpure milk. This is Dr. Whitcomb for News and Nutrition. Call your legislator. Talk to them about this. Say you're concerned. We need to clean up atypical tuberculosis in cows.